Welcome to the second episode of the Alameda Community Lore Center, your favorite podcast where we talk about ACLC and its ins and outs. Today we have two special guests, leadership alumni, here to talk about what was it like being in leadership last year.
Hi, Calvin Foltz, leadership scholar.
Hidayat Grady Unger, leadership historian.
Ask your question again. Sorry, I have to plug myself.
Okay, what was it like being in leadership last year? What was the experience like for you?
It was heinous.
Heinous.
I found it rather.
What is the descriptor?
Okay, so a big thing about leadership is that it's really tedious.
Tedious. The
Like,
system or being
The system
in class?
and the people, it all takes forever to do, and
Right.
everyone just argues over stuff that's not important.
Uh-huh.
And also, although I enjoy doing CCC News with well-known leadership scholar Alex Hayden, it was a task. It was an undertaking.
Ah, yes, an undertaking.
What do you have to say about it, leadership historian?
I think it was pretty abysmal being in that class. Nothing
Uh-huh.
really got done that needed to get done.
So true.
All of the proposals that actually should have been implemented were just talked about and argued about for
Preach.
hours, and nothing actually got changed. And a lot of the time
Really?
spent in that class, I feel, was misused. It was used very poorly. A lot of people were just arguing, making a lot of jokes, being very loud.
Or just like doing nonsense.
It seemed like a game almost.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like the point of leadership was to actually change the school. It seemed like it was sort of a joke, and I don't think that it should be seen as a joke. I think that people who are in the class and who want to be in the class should be in that class because they are serious about it and they want to make changes to the school and they want to actually improve the school and work hard.
Do you think this is the fault of the students or the system that they've created?
I think probably both, because the system they've created would be because of
Yeah.
the students. So, I think that there wasn't enough real control in that class. The people who were in charge, being the Roberts Ruler and the co-chairs, didn't seem to take it super seriously.
I'm gonna have to, as past Roberts Ruler, I'm gonna have to interrupt you there and say
Alright.
the Roberts Ruler is not supposed to be in charge.
Okay.
The fact that you think I'm in charge is the problem.
I
with
didn't say you
leadership.
were in charge.
You said the people
That's-
in charge, the co-chairs, and Roberts Ruler.
Well, the
Could
Roberts
I-
Ruler keeps order.
Okay.
Can I butt in? I am the current Roberts Ruler.
Yelski. I didn't know
and
that.
I'd have to say they actually have 100% of the power because
Yeah.
they're the only people who know the rules. And they can just manipulate everyone,
But,
which I do.
But as Roberts Ruler, a big thing that I noticed is there's kind of a power vacuum in leadership. Like there's an
Sure,
area of
elaborate.
power that someone needs to fill that, and there's three possible options for who could fill it, and no one does. Number one is Molly.
Right.
Molly could fill that power vacuum, make sure that people are kind of getting on orderly
Well, it's
and,
meant to
and
be
doing our stuff.
student-led.
Exactly.
Or
That's
led,
why
so-
Molly doesn't do it, which
Right.
is fair. Or the Roberts Ruler could do it. The Roberts Ruler, when I did it, had a gavel, could keep people quiet, knew the rules. But that's also not really the job of the Roberts Ruler. And in the past, when Roberts Rulers have done that and really kept control of the class really strongly, they were like kicked out of leadership for being too I guess forward or powerful.
People want to let people like interject
Exactly.
and say their opinions.
It's true. Or the co-chairs could do it. And the co-chairs just don't. Let's be so real. Our co-chairs, literally one of them left halfway through the year.
Yeah,
But more
that was
importantly, even when they were both there, or even when there was a substitute co-chair, they just kind of didn't really do that much. I mean, I love James Moore, but like, there was just not a lot done there. They would just kind of sit there and let people talk and like go on and like say nonsense and just do all this crazy stuff until someone else commented on it, and then they would do something about it. It's like, no, you got to be preemptive.
It seemed like their whole job, especially last year, was just to write down what everyone else was saying on
So
the board. They
Yeah.
didn't really do anything else beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, everyone made it such a big deal, like, when we were electing new co-chairs. Like,
Yeah.
if they have that amount of power, I think they should use it at least a little bit.
Yeah, people got like all salty about like not getting elected co-chair, and I'm like, that sounds like a terrible job. You have to stand up and write all day, but you don't
Yeah.
actually get to do anything. You don't get to
Right.
vote, and they don't actually use any of their power. Everyone is so afraid to use their power because they think everyone will hate them.
Actually, I'd like to interject. They do actually get votes. It says in the Roberts rules they can vote.
They vote on tiebreakers, right?
They can vote regardless. They're not supposed to, but they
Really?
can.
I did not know that. You clearly read the Robert's Rules a little bit better than me.
I've read the Robert's Rules, yeah.
I've read them
Ellis
too.
Is the best Robert's Ruler we've ever had.
I'm going to be so real. He was probably better than me. I used to like just freak out. And
you kind of just banged the gavel every time there was
Were you
any
two
noise.
simultaneously in leadership?
Because if I didn't,
Oh.
everyone would yell at me about not banging the gavel, and if I did bang the gavel, everyone yelled at me about banging the gavel. So everyone, either everyone, like literally, I'd have people surrounding me, poking me in the shoulder, going, "Hey, can you tell people to be quiet?" And I'm like, "Okay, bang, 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 bang." And then the people in the back, like you, who are being loud, are like, "You're such a."
Oh, I never said anything.
Isaac
like
and Jalen. I'd point at them when they're like clearly
true, they
speaking to
did.
each other, and they're like, "What? You're so mean!" It's like, I think the whole point of leadership is that the problem is that everyone's trying to have a cohesive democratic system, and also everyone is friends. So
Yeah.
it becomes a thing of A, favoritism, and B, trying to not piss off everyone, because not only do you have to be their Robert's Ruler or co-chair, you have to be their friend outside of class.
Another thing about that is that a lot of the kids, especially last year, who were in leadership, it did not seem like they wanted to be in leadership at
Yeah.
all.
People just want a
They
GPA
went
boost,
in
maybe.
there, like, complaining about it. Like, the second they walk through the door, they're just like, man, I cannot wait for this class to be over. And they just goof off the entire class, look on Instagram. Everyone was scrolling on their phones. No one was paying attention. Nobody ever wrote proposals. And nothing actually got done.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's the incentive to do the class is not to change the school. It's simply to increase your GPA or get like.
Right.
I guess there's a level of corruption in the class as well. You can kind of control where the school goes to a degree, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of brings us to the next thing, is that there isn't really much you can do. If you want to make real change, you have to kind of take it up to other people. Like what are the people like above us? I don't know. It's
The people above who?
above leadership that make the actual decisions.
I guess the administrators, the Annalise and head facilitators.
Yeah, I mean
Right.
them, and then they've got like their group and whatnot.
The CCEF or?
CCF, I think they're in charge of money.
Oh.
I don't know.
That has a lot to do with stuff that happens in leadership, though, because a lot of things that people want to change requires a lot of money.
That's true.
And we have to get approval from them.
But yeah,
I
we
think Annalise
don't
is in
really
charge of a
have
lot.
that much real power. We can make like minor changes, but we kind of don't. Also,
Right, because I remember this one instance last year when we were in leadership where somebody wrote some proposal that everyone in the class that was a student or a learner was very excited about. They all seemed like, oh, this is a great idea. Molly was not a fan of it, so what she said was that she was just going to stall the class on until it was past time so that we couldn't implement this proposal because she didn't like it. So it really doesn't seem like it is student-led. I think that's like...
Not really.
Like, that's just the face of the school, but that's not what's actually going on in the school. I think that they want the students to believe that they have power, but that we don't actually have
It's
it.
student-led until they don't like what we're doing.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
they think we shouldn't be doing it.
They want us to speak up. They want us to know that we have a voice, and they want us to try to be heard and to try to make change, but they don't want to give us the power to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And make decisions for ourselves and for our community, because they don't think that we have the right ideas, I guess.
Yeah.
We're too stupid to make the right decisions.
That's kind of the hard thing, though, because when we started out at this school, we had pretty much infinite funding from like a law firm, and now we're kind of stuck trying to like fit into the like charter system. So in order to get our money, we kind of have to do what they say.
Right.
So yeah, we
It takes-
can't actually really do anything.
Yeah, it takes a lot of persuasion and a lot of begging, it
Pushing,
seems,
yeah.
from CCEF to get anything done. I see a lot of people going to multiple meetings for like months trying to get money for one event or for one cause, and most of the time we're able to get that money, but it's hard to get all of it, and it's hard to get their approval to do everything that we need. 'Cause
That's fair. I mean, it's their money. They have
That's
no
true.
real. Yeah, they have no real like incentive to really just like fund everything.
Yeah.
Do you have anything left to say?
Yeah, I've got some final points. I think that leadership would benefit from emphasizing more a student kind of, I guess, like barrier between the outside world and leadership. Like too
What do you
often
mean by
we
that?
go into leadership and I think we take personal issues up a lot. Or, like, people talk about, oh, we shouldn't say people's names and proposals. And it's like, when you're in leadership, you're there for the good of the school. And you shouldn't be concerned about what people think about you or about,
Ideally.
like, blah, 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 blah. So I think they need to further emphasize, like, when you're in leadership, it's different than being outside of leadership. It's kind of like, they do that well with JC, I think, but they need to do it better with leadership, if that
Could
makes
you
any sense.
elaborate that, like the student barrier idea?
I think people should just, like, the teachers or the co-chairs should more emphasize, like, hey, when you're in leadership, like, it's, like in JC, the whole point is you want to be as unbiased as possible. You don't want to be acting based on personal ambitions or thoughts. It's more like this is objectively the right point for ACLC. And in leadership, we need to more emphasize that students in leadership have a democratic responsibility to the school, and they should be acting in the best interest of the school instead of in their own personal interest. And they should be kind of putting on this, like, different mind. Like, when you're outside of leadership, you know, you're this, and then when you're in leadership, you put on, like, a different hat or something. You know what I mean? Like, you put on a different role.
Absolutely.
I'm in leadership now, and I'm not gonna be a jerk. I'm not gonna be an idiot. And I think there should be more punishments for that. If you're gonna just goof off, you get kicked out of leadership for the rest of the year. Like, why would we just have people in there? It's not a class. I mean, leadership is not a class. It's not something you should be graded on, in my opinion. It's a responsibility and a right that you have to our school. I think if you're not paying attention, or if you don't want to be in there, you should get kicked out immediately. And I think maybe they should make it harder to get into leadership. Like, well, not harder, but I think you should have to show that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 'cause
Yes.
I don't know why people who don't want to get into leadership ever went in. It's not a GPA boost.
Is
I
it
guess
not?
No, it's not. It doesn't count
It
for.
looks good.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
good for colleges. So I don't know how you counteract that, but I would hope that people get in it for less selfish reasons in the future. Maybe someone has an idea of how to counteract that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how we would necessarily make people care about the health of the school.
It's true. Because they don't really until they've been here long enough that they're leaving. Like, I care about the health of the school now that I'm a senior, now that I'm going to graduate, so it doesn't matter. I've never cared about it before. I barely cared about it last year.
Yeah.
So that's the rough part about the school is you spend
Definitely.
especially if you came here in freshman year, but even if you are started from 6th grade like us for lifers, like, you still don't really care about the state of ACLC and worry about how it's going to be for the future generations until you are the last generation, until you are 12th grade. And
Definitely feels very out of your hands until the later stages of your...
I think maybe they need to emphasize,
schooling.
and I know I said this in leadership a lot last year, which was that they needed to emphasize younger students, but, like, these students are the students who can continually help this school, who can, like, start a project when they're in 7th grade and continue to work on it throughout the years.
Absolutely.
If we're all just joining leadership in, like, 10th grade, which is, like, maybe most of us join, like, junior year, but if we're all joining in 10th grade, you only got, like, 3 years to do anything. It's not a lot of time.
Yeah, no,
By the
not at
time you
all.
actually know how it all works and care, you're a senior, so...
I totally agree with the emphasis on younger students, and your logic to back it up is completely flawless, from what I can say.
What do you think,
I agree.
Sir Historian?
I agree.
Is there a historical precedence for that in leadership?
I was supposed to be the scholar. You were supposed to be the historian. You messed it up.
Okay, well, as the historian, there's definitely a historical precedence. Like, this has happened, and it needs to happen more. Like back in, like, the early days of ACLC in the BC, there was no leadership. It was just all the students, which means that, like, you could actually care about the school and, like, you could get invested in. We need to bring back that same spirit.
I agree.
How would we do that?
Public beheadings, maybe?
Yeah, no, I think you're completely right. Is this all you'd like to say? I don't have any more questions.
I think that's the end of what I'd like to say.
That's all? All right. Thank you very much.
Hero, tell us your name and grade and social security number.
My name is Hirayathis Grady Unger. My grade is 12th. And my social security number starts with a 7, I think, but I don't remember the rest.
Okay, that's good enough.
That's
for
all
us.
you guys need to know.
Yeah. Give me a sec. I gotta get into this guy's phone. We're just gonna be asking you a few questions, trying to find out a little bit more about how school affects your mental health, as well as a few other students. Yeah, we don't expect to really get that much information out of this, but maybe chip the surface of the iceberg.
All right, cool.
This is a very complicated subject. What's your opinion on how much homework you get?
I guess it depends on the time. Sometimes I feel like there's a totally manageable amount of homework, and I think that it's just the right amount of challenging, and I feel like I'm actually getting something out of it, like learning-wise. Other times I feel like there is an incredible amount of busy work, and
Yeah.
it is not necessary to have that much homework. And
Absolutely.
it kind of makes it hard to do anything else that actually needs to get done. Like, it makes it hard for me to make time to take care of myself and to get done, like, really important homework, because I have all of this homework that is due really soon, and there's a ton of it, and it's just all the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
homework
It's
for
not-
the sake of homework.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
agree with you.
On that, I guess moving on to another question is, do you think, like, because of all the homework, does it really affect, like, you being able to, like, partake in your hobbies
Oh yeah,
outside of school?
definitely. Absolutely. All the time. I mostly like to do things that require a lot of time to do, like reading for hours, or painting, or writing music. I don't usually do stuff that has, like, set times, like sports and lessons for instruments or anything like that, which would, like, actually have, like, set times. It's just things that I would have to find time in my own schedule to do, and because my schedule is so filled with the busy work from the homework,
Yeah.
I can't find time to do the things that I actually want to do, that I have to make my own time for in my schedule.
Yeah, and I know you're not the only person who experiences life like that, like that wants to spend a lot of time with the things they enjoy. So it seems kind of like all this busy work is really stopping people like you from finding enjoyment in their lives.
Yeah.
Do you think the amount of work is fair, generally?
Sometimes, yeah. I think that there are a lot of times where I feel like there is, like, maybe just a couple assignments for each class per week, and it is manageable, and I feel like I'm actually learning and keeping up with the things that I need to be, like, actively using in my brain so that I don't forget stuff and
Yeah.
start, like, getting worse at the subjects I'm doing. But, like, especially last year with the amount of homework that I was getting in math classes and stuff, just like,
Yeah.
especially the academic classes just give you so much homework, and it just seems totally absurd and not really useful.
Can I interject?
Yeah, of course.
For those of you guys listening, he's talking about Dave's class.
Yeah.
There's- I don't know if it's still the same, but there's lots of work.
Algebra was a bear last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then last semester, Carla gave us, like, so many
Oh, man.
articles to
Oh,
annotate.
yeah, that
like,
was-
like 3 8-page articles to annotate in, like, 3 days.
It seemed like she was just
That
trying
was
to
just
meet
insane.
a quota every week, but I
Yeah.
don't think there
Exactly.
really was one that existed.
It also just seemed hard because a lot of the things seemed very simple to answer, yet you had to write, like, 5 different annotations
Yeah.
per page,
Yeah.
which kind of took away from, like, being able to do other stuff because you were spending so much time just concentrating on how do I pass this.
I
It's
agree,
actual
because it's not
assignment.
hard. It's not actually challenging you and getting you to use your brain. You're doing the same repetitive thing over and over and over again, and it's easy. It just takes so much time,
Yeah.
and it's time that's wasted and could be used to actually learn new material and
I
learn new
agree.
things.
What motivates you to do your homework?
Fear, probably.
Mm.
Above
I don't
all
do it
else?
because I want to. Yeah, I think so. Because
You don't,
I'm really
like-
afraid of criticism from other people, like being like, "Oh, you have missing assignments. Now we're gonna be mad at you."
Fellow
Like,
students, teacher, parents?
parents, teacher. I don't really care about other students.
Yeah,
That would
that's
not
fair
affect me.
enough.
But I do not like seeing the little red missing on
Yeah.
Jupiter.
No, that's like the mental health destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
all
so
has to get done
diminishing.
before that. And
Yeah.
seeing my numbers drop
Mm.
on Jupiter, having all 4s and then seeing them drop to 3s, anything like that, is the worst. It makes me feel like I'm a failure. I have to do everything right, and if I don't, I just feel so bad about myself.
Yeah. Actually, on top of that, speaking about, like, the 4-point system, what do you think of that? Do you think that affected, like, your mental health compared to, like, when there were, like, percentages? Do you think this is good or, like, bad?
Honestly, I don't think that it changed much for me personally. It's just kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think it actually might be a little bit better because
Mhm.
when I used to see, like, an 89.9 and not get a 90,
Oh.
I would get so mad, because that used to happen to me, especially in Molly's class,
yeah.
all the time, and I would be this close to an A, and I wouldn't get it, and I would just crumble, because there was just
That's good, too.
maybe one Oxford comma I could have added
Yeah.
that could have changed my score, and it made me so mad. But now if I have like a 3.5, I can just be like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to do some extra credit or something. And
It makes it more manageable.
Yeah.
The new grades, to me, they seem kind of like when you set a new like alarm sound effect, and it doesn't like piss you off as much,
Yeah.
but it still does the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, it's still there, but it's not as terrible. But
You're not
it's-
used to it.
Yeah, you're
Doesn't
not used
affect
to
you
it
as
because
much.
but it still hurts sometimes, like seeing something like a 2. Because I gotta be
Yeah.
honest, I missed 2 days of school, and this is the beginning of the semester. I have a 1.5 in English right now
Lord.
because I'm absent
That's gonna
for
be
2
rough.
assignments.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. Shout
got
out to
one more
Molly though.
question.
I love you.
Yeah, Molly's great.
Yeah.
Are you okay with your GPA from last semester?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the past semester.
Oh my god. I got a
You like it?
4.2, and I've never had a 4.2 before.
Oh,
And
I'm proud
I
of you.
was really happy
Nice
about
job.
that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good job. Actually,
Do you have any questions?
I had one, and then it went out the window. So
All right. Well,
yeah, brain power. No.
That's all we need from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, here's our third and final guest here to talk about the workload and their mental health and whatnot. What's your name and grade?
Callum Edison, and I'm grade 12,
All right. So you've been here for
6 years.
a lot of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you have like the prime opinion on this.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on how much homework you get?
I think it depends on the class. Like some classes,
Yeah.
like English, I don't have a lot. But for some classes like Carla, it's really based on like articles and annotation stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's a lot more.
Yeah. You think it's fair, like the amount of work you get?
I think it's a reasonable amount. I don't think it's like I don't generally have to stay up really late doing work unless I have like a big project. So I'd say that's
Yeah.
like, reasonable.
So you're like fine with it?
I'd say I'm fine.
Yeah. Do you have ample time for the things you enjoy doing, hobbies, hanging out with friends?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say. Well, it depends. It really depends. Like if I'm on it and I'm getting stuff done, like on time and stuff, I do. But if I'm like let stuff build up, and less so. But that's
Yeah.
mostly on my part.
Yeah. So you think it's fair?
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. What motivates you to do your homework?
It's really annoying when you have a bunch of stuff that builds up, and it's also not fun to
Just
see.
trying to like keep the workload
yeah.
manageable.
It's also
That's what
not.
motivates
It's
you?
not fun to see a 1.5. on
Yeah.
the grades.
See that red? Yeah.
Yeah.
All those big red letters.
Understandable. Are you okay with your GPA from last semester? Did you try to improve it?
Well, Carla gave me a 3.5 in her class, even though she was supposed to give me a 4,
Mm.
which would let me have all 4s last semester, but she didn't do that, so now,
So that's what you'd want to improve.
yeah, I would want to improve that.
Yeah, that's. Actually, one more question. How has your workload affected your mental health, if at all? It seems like you're managing it pretty well.
I'd say it hasn't really affected it very well. I mean, if like something goes badly, I get a bad grade on a big assignment.
How does that affect you?
It sucks. It's like, it's kind of demoralizing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Absolutely.
Not fun.
Actually, building off of ideas from like past people that we interviewed, like Cole, is how do you think this school has changed? Would you say that there's really any project-based learning anymore, or do you think like this school has changed a lot?
I think there are a lot fewer projects.
Yeah.
Like in Rob's class, I think we were constantly doing projects.
I agree.
And that was like, 2 years ago or so?
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely. But
It's been a fast
some of
change.
that might have to do with the fact that since the 3 of us are seniors, so we have less classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's less kind of opportunity to do more projects. Like I think the younger grades have more projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been my
That's
experience.
probably true. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you
so
for
much.
inviting me on.
Absolutely. Here's another student here at ACLC. Could you tell us your name
And grade.
and grade? Yeah.
Cole Walker. I'm a junior at ACLC.
All right. So yeah, you're a junior, so the workload's definitely that's going to be a big thing for you.
Grind season.
Definitely.
What's your opinion on how much work you get as a junior at ACLC?
I think that there is too much busy work.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, as I've heard other people talk about, Carla's class gives a lot of work that is not actually that in depth, and you don't actually learn anything. It's more just you're trying to reach like a certain point at which you're like, oh, I have 5 annotations, now I can stop reading this.
Yeah.
And it takes all the fun and actual learning out of assignments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you entirely. Do you think well, clearly you don't think it's fair. All right. You think it's worthless. Are you able to have like ample time for what you enjoy in your life, your hobbies, like friends? Do you think you have that with the amount of busy work you got?
I think I have space for a good amount of it, but I do put work over things that I know I would like enjoy or make me happy. So that does take away, like last semester. Most of my Sundays were spent of just 11 hours of doing calculus, and that was on my own time. But a lot of that was because during the week I can't focus on like college work and whatnot. I have to only do all the busy work assignments we have, and it gets overwhelming sometimes.
We're also Cole's friends, so we saw that firsthand when
Yeah.
we were hanging out.
It definitely took a toll on his mental health.
Yeah.
How would you say that the amount of work you had affected your mental health?
I think it definitely is just a whole layer of stress. It's not something that like ever really is relieved. Even if you get an assignment done, you might get like, oh, I got this done. You get a little dopamine boost. But you know that the next week you're going to have just like more, if not the same amount of work.
Yeah. Layer on layer.
Yeah. It's not, it's the way I describe it is just like not necessarily even stressful and like, oh no, now I have to do this. It's more just like I'm desensitized to it.
Yeah. I feel you. What motivates you to do your work at this point?
I think it depends on the class. A lot of it is just I want to have like a good college app and whatnot because I know that if I get to choose the environment I can be in for like the 4 years after high school, it'll be great. So if I have like a good pick by having a good GPA and a good college app, that'll be nice. So I can choose like an environment I'll like succeed in.
Yeah.
But with some like classes, like I take calculus and math classes at Peralta, and I do those because I want to, because I enjoy it, and it does help my college apps. But it's something that I do genuinely enjoy. And
Yeah. Are you okay with your GPA from last semester? Would you like to improve it? Oh yeah,
definitely.
I know a little bit about that. Tell us about your GPA. Whoa.
It's okay.
You really worked for it.
I don't really even know what I got for the semester. All I know is that I've been upholding a 4.0 the entire thing at ACLC.
And with junior level like workload, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think second semester might fall off here, but it's okay.
Yeah. We all fall off a little.
Yeah. But I mean, you just come back. I guess, what do you feel like, I don't know if this is like a weird question, but what is your kind of work? Like, what do you like to do? Would you like more like big assignments that are due in like a week where you can just complete them day by day, or do you actually enjoy like the assignments that are just like every day I have like an entire essay that I need to read or something for college?
I would say I like probably the larger assignments. Like we're supposed to be a project-based school, and I think that aspect's really nice. Like say in creative tech in Michael Kim's class, it's like, okay, for the next month or two, you're going to be building this. And that's nice because you have all this time. And especially if it's a group project, you know you can gather people around it and get it done last minute if you need to. But a lot of the time, it does mean that you don't have to because you have all that time and you can space it out how it's going to work for you instead of being like, okay, annotate, and do whatnot.
I think Michael Kim may be one of the last teachers at this school who actually genuinely does project-based learning.
I think that is definitely a
David
thing
Dilworth as well, I would say.
Yeah, I mean David Dilworth.
He kind of mixes it in, but I do agree. He does a good job of that.
But it seems like a lot of the other teachers have kind of forgot that, like, because I think that was one of the things I liked about sixth grade is that there were a lot of projects. But I don't know, I haven't really said it, but I guess like as you guys have noticed also, it seems like it's sort of teetering off, like not a lot of
it's
project
more, it's more just a lot of assignments now rather than
the only person who can get away with that, I think, is Molly.
Yeah.
She does a good job of like actually teaching.
Hers
she doesn't do like projects.
Even though that it seems like it should be a lot, she makes it in a way where it's easily digestible because you also have like the period to work on it, which I don't think like I can work on it after school, because after school I'm kind of burnt out. So kind of having like that time inside of class is also really helpful.